So Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes introduced a bunch of new tiefling variants covering all the different archdevils, Asmodeus, Glacia, and so on. But did you know back in 2015 there was a idea for a tiefling variant that was all tied to the Abyss and all of the demon lords? Well, it hasn't been reprinted in 5 years, so it's probably not going to be, but let's talk about it. Stay tuned. LB's here. She always mixes up Infernal and Abyssal, but that's why we've got her here. So what's going on, folks? Ted from Nerd Immersion here, and this is my good friend LB, also known as LB Hack'em-Up. We play every Wednesday on the Rod of Seven Parts campaign here on my Twitch channel. So we're going to jump over to the Wizards of the Coast website. There was this old article, again, December 7th of 2015, called That Old Black Magic. And from what we talked about, you are unfamiliar with this completely.
Correct.
All right. So this was as Out of the Abyss was coming out, so it was the conclusion, or as the Rage of Demons storyline was going on. So they said, okay, well, we've got a big focus on demons. Let's talk about that. So they created this Unearthed Arcana, which I'll open up right here, which again, I'll link in the description, called That Old Black Magic. And you might recognize some of this because at the bottom, they introduced all of these conjure spells. They had ones tied to specific demons, Conjure Balgura, Hezro, Lesser Demon, Vrak, Shadow Demon. And you may recognize that the Conjure demons, I think Lesser Demon and Greater Demon do exist. They came out in Xanathars. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the Tiefling variant, because I thought this would be interesting as a Tiefling fan and to get your opinion as someone who doesn't know anything about it.
Yes.
So, a standard Tiefling gives you Charisma +2, Intelligence +1. So what this is suggesting is we break that and we do Charisma +2 and still keep the languages, but we change a few other things. So the Infernal Tiefling, they're saying separate them out into Infernal and Abyssal. And they kind of just did that even further with the Mordenkainen's one, where rather than just being called Infernal, it was tied to the specific demon or devil.
Yeah.
So the Abyssal one would be Charisma +2, Constitution +1.
Okay.
You'd still be keeping, or no, you wouldn't keep, I don't think any of the other stuff. No, you wouldn't. So it would just be base, all you got was Charisma and the ability to speak, read, and write Common. This one would then give you Constitution +1. And this concept of Abyssal Arcana. So each time you finish a long rest, you gain the ability to cast cantrips and spells randomly from a list we'll talk about in a second. At first level, you got the cantrip. At third level, you got a first level spell. And at fifth level, you got a second level spell. And there's this little table, a D6 table. Here, let's grab some dice. And we can roll these live. And you can see what you would think if you were playing this now. So you can cast a spell granted from this trait only once until you complete your next long rest. You can cast a cantrip at will like you would normally. First level spells whose effect change, for first level spells whose effects changes if you cast using a second level slot or higher, you can cast the spell if you using as if using a second level slot. Second level spells are cast as if using a second level slot. Okay. So we'll talk about that when we get to it. At the end of each short rest, you lose the cantrips and all those spells, and you replace them with the new ones rolled on the table. You replace those cantrips by rolling on it, roll separately for each cantrip and spell, and if you roll the same spell or cantrip you had previously, you have to keep rolling till you get a new one. So let's start with that. So you've got a D6 table, so we're playing your character, it's the new day, go ahead and roll a D6.
All right. I got a 1.
So you're going to have Dancing Lights as your cantrip.
All right, level 3 spell.
Is going to be Magic Missile.
Oh, that's always good.
And then
a 1.
Alter Self. So a pretty good set. So here comes the interesting part. It's the next day. You have to roll again, but if you get the same ones, you have to keep going.
Okay. So cantrip would be Spare the Dying, which is always useful. 3.
Got to roll again.
Yep, because I already have that one. A 1.
Burning Hands.
And then a 6
Spider Climb.
Very nice.
So that's how that would go. And then you also get this Abyssal Fortitude. Your hit point maximum increases by half your level, minimum of 1. And then Speak, Read, and Write Abyssal. So you can see if we look down this cantrip list, Dancing Lights, True Strike, Light, Message, Spare the Dying, Prestidigitation. So they're all going to be utility things. Nothing combat oriented. And some are clear winners, I'd say, like Spare the Dying or maybe Message, Prestidigitation, very useful. Some are kind of a flop, like True Strike. Dancing Lights and Light have their different benefits. The ones you're going to get at 3rd level, though, it's Burning Hands, so that's pretty solid. Charm Person can be useful at times. Magic Missile, automatic hit, automatic damage. Cure Wounds, though, so that's not a ton, but it's going to be healing. Yeah. Tasha's Hideous Laughter and Thunder Wave, so a decent spread of spells. And then the 5th level ones are Alter Self, Darkness, Invisibility, Levitate, Mirror Image, and Spider Climb. So I always thought this was a really interesting concept, but I think the reason it didn't end up in print is because of the randomness. Yeah. So if you were playing a character and you were playing this variant, well, let's get your opinions. What are your thoughts?
I like the idea. I like that it's just like one spell for each of these levels, and that it's not like your whole list of spells has to be random every day.
Sure, it's just a small list.
Yeah, and it's that I think that as far as if there's something that you have to have, like you have to have a light spell because that's you as a player, you need that, then pick a class that you get the light spell every day. Like, don't worry about it. I do like this idea. I like that it gives you some like role-playing options as far as like who your parent is and why you're getting these things and why they're messing with you in that regard, because the chaos, that makes sense. I think it's interesting. I think it'd be really fun to one day have someone just say, hey, can you save this person? They're dying. You're like, oh, sorry, my dad's messing with me today. I can't do that.
So my question is, do you, and I think also part of the reason why is it doesn't actually, you do get to keep dark vision. So you get that regardless. So do you think that so your hit point maximum increases by half your level minimum once. The most you're going to get if you played this character all the way to 20 is 10 extra hit points. Do you think a minimum of 1 to a maximum of 10 extra overall hit points balances out resistance to fire damage?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I mean, it depends on what you're doing, but in anything that you're going to do, even if you stick your hand in a fire on accident, or fall in there, you're going to take more damage than that. Yeah. So, I mean, I like the concept. It says for 1st level spells whose effect changes if casting using a 2nd level slot or higher, you can cast those spells as if they're at 2nd level. So you get that, I guess, from the beginning. So what that means is Burning Hands, if it's at 1st level, I think it's 3d6, and at 2nd level, it's 4d6. Yeah. So you'd actually be casting a 2nd level Burning Hands, a 2nd level Magic Missile, a 2nd level Cure Wounds. Yeah. So that's 2d8 plus your Charisma modifier once a day if you happen to get it. Yeah. So I like the spells. I might have put a damaging cantrip in there, possibly, instead of True Strike or switching something else out. I don't love the hit points thing. Maybe if it was, I don't know if it'd be too much for it to be. Actually, no, because that's what dwarves get. Dwarves get, hill dwarves get 1 hit point per level. So I might change that because this is kind of funky, and I think that would balance out. That's 20 hit points over 20 levels. Right. Plus, if you're playing like a squishier class, that kind of makes you like, it makes a D6 hit die more like a D8. Yeah. So if you were gonna fix this, because obviously they didn't like it enough to print. Yeah. And they obviously had a huge push to do tieflings because they did that change in Mordenkainen, so they just left this one alone. Yeah. What do you think they would need to do to fix it? I think having that resistance would still be good, even if you do get the extra AC or the extra hit points from it. I think that would help make people want it more. Okay. The languages, I would think that you would have at least Abyssal, right? Yeah, you do get Abyssal. Okay, you do. Okay, good. Yep. I feel like they could add something that's, I know it's just a race and it's not like your class and you get all these crazy things, but I think they could add something that is a little bit more chaotic in that regard. Like you get, if you had dark vision every other day or something a little bit more random or chaotic, I think that'd be more fun. And would you want the list to be more, so this is just a D6 for each, would you want it to be like a D10 or D12? You think that's too much to keep track of? Well, I don't think it's too much to keep track of because you just reference it, but I think that'd be fun. I think that'd be fun to have, or even having more different levels of spells. Okay. When you mentioned it at first and you said that you pick you randomize your spells, and I was like, that'd be really interesting to have your whole spell list. Yeah. But also it'd be super chaotic. I think if there were 10, that'd be fine, but okay. I think it's interesting. Okay, yeah, I might go up to 12 just because how often do you get to roll a d12? Not too often. Well, I play a barbarian. Well, I guess that's true. Then you do get a chance to do that a little more often.
What if you had like resistance and the type, like you had the fire resistance, like we talked about, possibly instead of hit points, but the type of resistance changed every day. So it was like fire resistance today, cold resistance tomorrow, and you had to roll that too.
Oh, that'd be interesting. Especially if you as a character didn't know.
Right, yeah. Oh, okay. So the DM's rolling it to see what it is every day, and you're like, haha, oh, well, not resistant to acid today. Interesting.
Let's check.
Okay. Interesting. All right, so my last question, I guess, for you based on this. Well, again, let me also know in the comments your thoughts. Did you like this? I know I have a friend who's a big fan of random character choices, so he really liked this concept. And I did talk, and he referenced the same thing that you kind of referenced. It'd be really cool to be like, well, I can save you today, but I don't know about tomorrow. So your options are I can heal you today, and we can, call it. We'll see. We'll leave it up to chance tomorrow. So he really liked it, and I liked it too. But would you? So obviously we know you have Siren that you play with me every Wednesday. Sorry. Would you change, like, if Jordan offered you the option tomorrow to, like, be like, you've been saying you've been an Abyssal Tiefling the whole time by accident.
I feel like I've only said that twice, okay? Let's be honest.
Okay.
But if I could change...
Would you? And like, we made those couple of tweaks that we talked about. Would it make you change from the other Tiefling to this one?
I might. I kind of like the randomness of it. Okay. I like that idea. I think I would like to know who my father was, or who my legacy comes from, and if they had that in there as well, where like if you come from a certain demon, then yes. you get certain things. But I would try it. I'd try everything. Because
I'm reading through, and they don't really give us, and I clicked off of it, guys, but you don't really have much. It just says. The following option allows you to instead create a tiefling with a demonic tie, and then all it says is all abyssal tieflings trace their bloodline to the demons of the abyss. These tieflings have the following features. So it doesn't give us, like, there's not an expanded lore section to, like, further explain that, because, like, for the most part, demons are pretty gross and kind of mindless, and who's shacking up with one to end up getting this thing to happen?
Cults are a thing.
I guess that would be the way to go, but... Okay, that's interesting. Maybe Jordan will watch this video and he'll let you change if you want. Probably not. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you, LB, for being here and being a part of this. I'll put LB's all her I guess her Twitter in the social media or in the links below. I have a YouTube now. Oh, and a YouTube, right? And a Twitch.
I do. Yeah.
I'll put all of those things. She plays a bunch of games with her friends on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And from like scary horror games to like other fun style games. She's also super good at Overwatch. Sometimes we play and I'm really bad. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Thank you again to my patrons for supporting me on Patreon and supporting the channel. And if you haven't subscribed already and you like this and you like me hanging out with cool friends, which I might try to do more of in the future, maybe you should subscribe. But you're adults, make your own choice. At least you're supposed to be 13 or plus if you're watching a YouTube video anyway. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.